16, 17-year-old me would have been ecstatic today because we're doing something that I did back then, which was put a big aluminum wing on my first car, which was a 1995 Ford Probe that probably made a whopping 76 horsepower. And I thought, what would make my car look cooler than putting a huge aluminum wing on the back of it? There was no thought in my head whatsoever about what that wing did. In fact, I probably thought the complete opposite of what they actually do back then when I put it on the car. And everybody used to say, oh, that thing's gonna make your car lift off the ground and you look like an airplane. Well, I'm here to tell you, wings do exactly the opposite of that. Yep, there it is. This is the change that we made. So, this is a WINGLOGIC airfoil. Pretty self-explanatory. I have PCI risers. So, for those of you who don't know and you're swinging in here to watch the video on the actual wing itself, I have a 1996 Acura Integra, which it doesn't matter if it's a 1994 all the way up to a 2001. It's going to be the exact same, essentially, for what we're talking about. I'm using a PCI riser. You could use any riser with this airfoil, and that's what's really, really cool about this company. I reached out to WINGLOGIC because I was very interested in the fact that they offer a wing that is low drag and high downforce. So on a lower horsepower car, this is very beneficial because you don't want to have a lot of drag. It essentially robs you of horsepower, and when you're fighting for every last bit of horsepower with these cars, you don't want the wing to be the problem. So very low drag, high downforce is going to give us exactly what we're looking for. I went with a 70-inch long element, and I have a swan neck design mount. So these mounts are super easy to put on. You can see they actually fit in the stock location. So WINGLOGIC does not provide any sort of risers. They are only going to give you the airfoil, but you get to customize it around the way that you need. So you can use you could essentially do arts and crafts and figure this out yourself. So if you want to use your own risers that you had made, you could do that as well. So they provide you with some brackets. You can make your own brackets. If you want to have higher brackets, this is actually a bracket that they provided me as well for the bottom mount style. That would be welded under here. You take your measurement. You can see right here a little bit. I have a black marker. I don't weld aluminum, so I had my fabricator weld this up. We did a couple measurements. You're going to measure from each mount, essentially, and make sure that everything is centered up and even, so you're not lopsided. You don't have one side that's sticking out on the other side. Super easy, again, to measure this up, and then any fabricator worth their salt is going to be able to weld this up nicely. It's called a stitch weld. Obviously, you can see there's a little air between there. This is plenty for this style, I guess you could say, bracket. And like I said, so it's pretty simple when you have an already made riser. You don't have to go that route. The other thing that WINGLOGIC provides you is the end plates. These end plates are normally blank. I got a little bit excited when I first got this wing and I started putting it together immediately, but they offer a wing template. So this is going to show the actual side of your airfoil, and it shows where the holes are with the threaded holes. So all you have to do is then measure out the holes so you could drill them and make these at the angle that you need them to be at. So pretty simple stuff, and obviously they provide the screws to put the end plates on too. And the benefit of this for us is, again, it's a low drag, high downforce wing, and I'll show you real quick what the difference is. This is my airfoil from last season. It is the the kit from PCI, and you might be able to see the difference. The big difference is that it does not have the gurney flap on it, but it's also a much more drastic, almost like a quarter pipe, if you will, angle. So this does create a lot more drag, and drag with a low horsepower car is not ideal. You want to try to minimize the drag on the car as much as possible, make it aerodynamic, cut through the wind, get that straight line speed up, because every 10th counts, and that's where you're going to make up some more time. Little things like this are the tweaks that you want to make in order to get that speed up. So the higher horsepower cars will still benefit from a low drag, high downforce wing, but you know, it's definitely beneficial to a low horsepower car. So I think this is a beautiful product. Very, very happy with it. Very happy with the ease of working with them. They get the products out very, very quickly, and installation is super, super easy. You could put this on pretty much any style car that you want, and that's why I'm saying you could use whatever risers you want, but bolting it up is pretty simple. Once you have all your measurements, you could pretty much put this bracket wherever you want, and you can see it is just a piece of aluminum, so you could actually make your own if you wanted to make it, so you have even more adjustment. I usually leave my wing at a neutral, which is 0 degrees of angle. And if I need a little bit more, which we're not sure yet, because this is a 70-inch element versus the 65-inch element, if I'm gonna even need to be at anything more than a 0 degree or neutral setting, I usually will bump it up to like a 6 degree. The max you really wanna be at is 12, and that's because at that point, the airfoil can actually stall out and not be helping you at all, essentially. So, yeah, there's all sorts of mathematics behind it and boringness. I wanted to show you guys the product. Super easy to install. All you really need to know is a welder. You can do math, pretty simple. Make sure you measure from end to end and go from there. So all you gotta do is really find yourself a set of risers, and you too can have a wing like me. That's it for today, guys. I hope to see you soon. Thank you, and we're gonna be doing some testing on this because now it's cool. We'll be having direct comparisons. I know that the PCI wing worked. It worked last year. Most wings will to some degree, but I think this is gonna maximize our performance for this upcoming season. So stay tuned, guys. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you soon.